Hey everyone, it's QuickyBaby and welcome back to World of Tanks. And as I'm taking part in the Renegade Marathon on my free-to-play account, you know there's going to be some good free-to-play highlights coming to the YouTube channel in the next week or so. So we're kicking it off in my first tier 9 medium tank on the free-to-play account. It's the Standard B. And today I'm going to show you that it's not about the gold rounds that you fire, it's not about the gold that you spend on your premium tanks, that if you at least use the noggin a little bit, then you can try and at least compensate for a little bit of the pay-to-win differences inside the game. Alright, so when we're playing on fjords, I always pray that I spawn in the southeast corner. Do you know why? Because frankly the position that I'm going into right now is completely broken, and it, more often than not, allows me to have far larger games than the norm. So we're starting by just aggressively trying to get in here, firing shots when we can, and now you'll see that this little alcove here is just so darn powerful. Well, why is this alcove so powerful? Well, it allows you to basically engage opponents from above while also being protected from behind. Now, I know some of you might be thinking, oh, well, what happens if they just rush around the corner and they push aggressively? Sure, sometimes this can happen. It's just, there's a little bit of a shooting gallery up here. You know, all the tank destroyers, some of the heavy tanks and the medium tanks that like to locate themselves up in this location, they're going to get shots. And more often than not, the opponents won't push through into this location to take another very important location, which will be up here. So what that allows us to do is to dominate the view range from this position, as well as also stop the enemies from using this location to be able to engage down and extend their view range. And if you can do all of those things, then of course, there's basically one position which almost dominates the whole of the rest of the map from the center. So we noticed that TVP fired all 4 of his rounds. I managed to reload all of mine after we shut down the Bat Chatillon 12T in a single magazine with this tier 9 auto-reloading Italian medium tank, and I decided to just fire all of my rounds there to punish the TVP to a point where then I can fall back, I can hide, I can get the final round, and that was a pressure shot. If I didn't pen that shot, if I fluffed that shot against the TVP, then you know he was going to come after me with all 4 rounds for the tier 10 Czechoslovakian or auto-loading medium tank. It's so confusing sometimes saying whether tanks are auto-loaders or auto-reloaders now inside the game, right? Anyway, job done. We've managed to get rid of 2 auto-loaders from the game. Now we can just extend our view range. But you've got to be very careful in this location because of all the bushes around this area here. If you get spotted from this location, then you're in for a hell of a lot of trouble, as they're going to be able to engage you from here, and they're also going to engage you from locations up around here. So what you want to do, and we just saw a tree fall just to my right, what you want to do is use this tree. This tree will provide you with a little bit of extra cover, but be very careful to react quickly if you're spotted here, as it could all go very wrong very quickly indeed. Alright, so I decided not really too much progress along here. My team are kind of chilling up in the northeast corner, so instead I'm going to go down and try and fight it out with the T124. Now we hit a big boom. That means the T124 is reloading, and I'm hoping that I can engage the Standard B, but I make the mother of all mistakes here. I did not know about this position. Through this bush, well, if you're looking at where I am inside my sniper view, it looks like, oh, this should be a really easy kill, right? The rock ends here, there's the bush, nice easy opportunity to engage the Standard B. But what I did not anticipate is that on the other side of the bush, there's a rock that juts out perfectly for the player to go hull down against me, only exposing their turret. And I was expecting to get clean shots into this player's lower plate. So if you have any medium tanks or heavy tanks, definitely use this position if they've got great turrets. You're really going to surprise your opponents purely because of the bush hiding your lower plate around a rock that your opponents can't see. And that can be very confusing. So I actually freak out a little bit there as to why I'm not getting the shot on this Standard B, and I completely fluff the shot, meaning that I just take one and I don't put any into return. I was hoping that I was going to get around that corner and finish off that Standard B. In actuality, I just managed to take a shot for nothing in return. Now I lock down the T124, the Standard B shoots me again, and I don't really want to shoot the T124 when I know that Standard B is going to put yet another round into me, and so I back off. Terrible trades there because of a lack of knowledge of a tiny little part of the map, and that's why learning the maps in World of Tanks is just so darn important. You have to learn your maps, you have to learn all of these different alcoves, all of these different positions, if you want to then be able to outplay your opponents and influence the outcome of the battle into your team's favor. Alright, so this is an obvious play here to just get up. The standard B obviously wants to hunt me. I'm not going to let that happen. And I actually roll way higher than I thought I would there, doing 420 damage to the standard B with 360 alpha. And so from here, you see I'm looking to my left, you'll see I'm looking to my right. I'm in a bit of a tricky situation here. And with the death of the T-34, we are completely pincered. And I want to go into a bit more depth about the position that I'm in and where I saw this battle going. And to be able to achieve this, it's about constantly assessing the map. This is the #1 mistake that new players and even novice players in World of Tanks make, and that is that they don't spend enough time planning what their next move is going to be. Whenever I'm not shooting or waiting to ambush somebody as they come around the corner, I'm plotting my next move on the minimap. So firstly, I want to talk about something that I think is very, very, very important in World of Tanks, and that is map control. What I'm always thinking is, where do we have control of the map, and where do the enemies have control of the map? And the easiest way to do that is to imagine that there's a line between your positions and the enemy positions. In the current situation, control of the map is about 50-50, but one thing you have to take into account is what's going to happen next. And that's clearly that this large group of enemy tanks are going to push into this dip, and then they're going to have the reverse position against me in the TVP, and if they manage to take us out, then they control a huge important hill on this map where they're going to be able to spot out our team, they're going to be able to get cross shots out across the north, and it's all going to be over. Accordingly, if you find yourself in a pincer position where you're getting pressured from two sides, you only have one option, and that is to push out the side that you think you have the best chance of winning. Clearly, rushing into a T-110E4 that's very healthy, as well as a bunch of other heavy and tank destroyers with a standard B is not going to work out. I can use my mobility to avoid the heavy tanks, lull them into a position where they're going to get engaged by my medium tanks, and instead I can try and turn the fight for the north with the EBR and the 50 TP into my team's favor. And if we can win the north, then there's a good chance that then we can either flank around or we can engage back against the heavies and try and split their advance and win the game. And so that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to take the soft shots here at the IS-3, and then you'll see that I look to the left, and that was the moment where it dawned on me, okay, I knew what was going to happen. Everything I explained on the map, and I realized, what chance do I have? Alright, only one chance here, and that is to be able to push out to the north. So I wait till I'm no longer spotted so I can manage to get an ambush off on the opponents towards the north. And I'm changing what was a 4 versus 2 situation into now a 3 versus 4, and I'm hoping that the TVP is going to join me. So I know that there was a T-28 spotted right in front of me. This tank is actually not a threat to me in this scenario. What's he going to do? And so you'll notice, why are you not firing? Well, I'm not firing because the more rounds I fire in an auto-reloader, the lower my damage per minute will get. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hug this T-28. I'm just going to stay behind him. I know there's nothing that this non-turreted American tank destroyer can do, and instead I'm going to keep calm, I'm going to wait for my shells to reload so I can maximize the damage per minute of my tank, and I'm going to try and focus on the vehicles that are actually a threat to me. Clearly the Panther II was a threat. Clearly the artillery was a threat. However, the situation is changing once again. The SDB-1 and the UDES have managed to finish off the 50 TP, and they might be flanking around. And I'm just locking down this T-28 in place and hoping the TVP kills him completely. The TVP clearly doesn't have the extra shell, so I finish him off, and I ask the TVP on the map to come and assist me, because clearly he's going to get ambushed by the VK-4502B and also the IS-3. So I'm thinking the UDES is just on my right, but he's actually on my left. He puts a round up into me, he tracks me, and he removes my ammo rack. And this is free-to-play problems, boys and girls. If I'd repaired my ammo rack in this situation, and I'd waited for my crew, which are not very skilled on this tank as I am on my free-to-play account, then I would have been left tracked up in the air, and the UDES would probably have been able to finish me off. By not using a large repair kit, we've got to make the most of a bad situation, repair our tracks, leave our ammo rack damaged. It doesn't matter because we're an auto reloader and our intra-clip reload doesn't actually get any longer. But then we're going to have to survive for 90 seconds afterwards to be able to avoid our opponents. And I'm immediately thinking, SDB-1's going to be coming after me. VK's trying to come after me as well, who managed to finish off the TVP during that engagement. And I'm looking behind me just hoping that SDB-1 is not going to be able to find me quickly. But even if he does, with his 360 alpha damage, he is a 50-50 whether he's going to be finishing me off in a single shot. So right now it's about running. And you see that I also try to stay as much out of the cap circle as possible to try and hide my movements from the enemy team. If I'd driven through the cap circle, it would have been obvious to everyone on the enemy team where I was. I tried to make it just a split second, Hopefully then the siren didn't go off for them and they wouldn't be alerted to my position. So clearly the IS-3, as I ping on the map, is making his way towards me here, and so I'm not going to go left, instead I'm going to go right, because to all intents and purposes, he could be on my left and I can use the bush to be able to find him out. Now I don't have time to mess around here. We're going to have to put 2 shots, and so we wait for a while, and then I realize, oh dear, SDB1, come on, get round the corner, and oh, come on, you're actually kidding me. Look at that shell coming from this location. Must have looped it around the corner into the back of the tank and high rolls for 361, or shall I say, wins the coin flip to be able to finish me off. But still, what a result in the standard B. 7 kills in a very tough situation, and I distracted the enemy heavies to go north. I stopped the enemy mediums from having a clean kill of my EBR and of the 50 TP towards the top. And from here on, this game is going to be a very straightforward victory. As our full health tier 10 Soviet medium tank, who's been chilling at the back in a sniper location, goes and finishes off, you know, the heavy tank that's just down to 340 hit points, and then inevitably finds that SDB1 who was down to 281 hit points. It's just such a shame that SDB1 caught me out just round the corner. Could have very easily missed. 50-50 whether he was going to kill me. And I know that I would have probably picked up the Radley Walters medal and shut down that SDB1 myself if I hadn't. Nevertheless, despite the fact that Lady Luck abandoned us towards the end of the game, I can't forget that we rolled pretty good against the standard B on the enemy team, saving me some precious moments or even some hit points earlier on in the battle. So this was an amazing result for the standard B. 1,586 base experience points, 6,000 damage, giving us a high caliber, and our 7 kills giving us a top gun. And best yet, as we didn't fire any gold rounds, this would have been a profit with or without a premium account. And before all of the armchair generals jump into the YouTube comments down below and say, oh, how do you have a premium account on your free-to-play account? I received these days completely for free from Wargaming's well-deserved reward loot crates. So that was the Prototipo Standard B, the tier 9 auto-reloading Italian medium tank on my free-to-play account. Hopefully all of you found it useful that I went into depth here, and I really wanted to emphasize how important seeing the minimap control is and how you have to use that to your advantage to know how to dictate your plays. Quite often people think that it just magically comes into your mind. No, it's not. It's through hard work and conscientious effort and focus. You have to learn how to be able to read the map and to guess how the outcome of the battle is going to proceed. And with enough practice in estimating that, then you're going to be able to make better decisions for yourself. And the better decisions that you can make will consequently result in you being more impactful in your game, and then undoubtedly your win ratio or even just your experience or damage caused will increase. So that was no gold, only brains. I hope all of you lovely ladies and gents enjoyed this video today. If you did, give it a thumbs up, but if you hated it, give it a thumbs down. And let me know in the comments down below if you've got any tips and tricks for new players who are trying to learn how to read games better. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You've been epic, and hopefully I'll see you soon.